Hi guys, welcome to today's conversation. My name is Christine of Super Mamas. We are going to talk about separation, divorce, and how we can help our children adjust much better. I am joined by the gorgeous, the beautiful Counselor Njoki, who's going to empower us on how we can mitigate the effects of separation and divorce on our children. Njoki,
Thank you.
welcome to our beautiful chair.
Thank you.
Good
Very
to have
nice.
you.
Thank you.
You know, on to something very serious. You know, when we go into a marriage and relationship, let's just say marriage, we go in with the intention of forever and ever, like Mills and Bones, forever and ever. But stuff happens.
Yes.
And then you have children in the mix. And I know every parent, even before you make that decision that you want out for whatever reason, you always worry, how are my children going to cope with this whole situation? And you being a counselor, is there any pointers you can share with us as parents on where we can do better to safeguard our children?
Yeah, and of course, one of the most important thing is, of course, what you said, nobody goes in it thinking they'll come out. But now when it happens, realize that it's inevitable. But also, it's important to realize that it's a traumatic experience for children. Because children, you and your spouse chose each other. But the children, there was no choice.
They were born
They just
to
found
the two of
themselves
you.
in that family.
Yeah.
But now they've been made to make a choice. We either go with mommy or daddy. And it is very important that even as you're talking about it, realize that the children are suffering a great loss. And the loss can be defined in so many ways. There's a loss of sense of security. That, you know, that feeling of just being in a family. Now you feel so exposed. Sense of belonging. I belong to, we are the Mwangis. That is our family name. So who are we now after parents are separated and divorced? Then they're also going through the loss of parents. Because they're used to having the parents, both of them at the same place. But now if they're away, how do we talk about this? Then other things like emotional stability, all those things are affected, because if you are paying a house, one house, now you need to go to two houses. So there's rent, the expenses and everything. So already their income kinda becomes kinda divided. But it's important that parents need to know that children will go through various emotions. The same emotions you'll go through as a parent because of this marriage that didn't work. The child will also go through them. But the child, most of the time, they really had no choice. So they're going through anger, they're going through shame, they're going through guilt. Can you imagine they go through guilt?
I hear the kids who blame themselves.
They think if I was good enough, if I performed, and they start acting up, they start trying to be better children, trying to become better in school, because they think
It's very sad.
perhaps if I was a good child,
My parents would have stayed together.
would stay together. And of course there's shame. When you go to school, people are talking about, my daddy came for visiting, my mother is the one who dropped me. Who am I talking about?
The little things we don't think about.
Yeah, so most children will say, my dad is working out of the country, they'll work, because also somehow, even when decisions were made, you didn't involve them. You just woke up and told them we're moving, or you just moved them.
Can I ask you a question, Njoki?
Please do.
From the perspective of a counselor, would you advise that a couple stays together just because of the children?
Oh, that's a very interesting debate, because that's one of the narrative that has come. And I read an article a few years ago, and they were saying it is better, and especially, interesting, Christine, sometimes divorce is good and separation.
Is it?
Yeah, because if this thing is working against your child development, where would you want them to stay
I
there?
won't be there.
Yeah. And we've had people who have come 40 years, 30 years, they say,
issues.
I wish my mom moved out on
Just
my
separated.
dad.
I've seen that. I've also seen that.
And this article saying it is better for a child to grow up with a single parent than grow up in a toxic relationship or environment.
Right.
So this is what I say, my take on the question you asked. When is the right time even to move out? Are you thinking about this child in the future? Are your concerns really genuine? Because these things that you're trying to shield your child from, they will go with them on into adulthood, in their marriages, Just even relationships, and you can see even in work relationships, you think somebody's just struggling with issues, but when you go back there, you
It
realize
goes from way back when.
way back, because all these things we learn in our family setting where we grow up.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so it is that
Well, we are thinking
situation.
we are shielding our children.
Yeah, so it's that place of, I mean, you need to ask yourself, what is the best interest of my children? Because some of those things that we say, it's the children and everything, sincerely, it's mostly
For
our
us.
fears and our stigmas that are making us say that. Because we need to really evaluate, are my children emotionally connected in this thing? Are they developing well? What kind of person will this be in the next 10, 15 years? And if you're able to answer that question, then you're able to answer, is it okay to stay for the sake of the children?
That's a good point. On to the pointers I would love for you to share with our parents who are watching, our people who are watching. How then, because I know the most important thing is to safeguard the interest of the child, to have an all-rounded happy child. How do you then protect a child that then they're not so affected by this separation or divorce?
You know what, Christine, even the Children's Act, everything is about the best interest
Of the child.
children. And even when a court determines matters divorce, they will look at the best interests of the child. So first and foremost, when you're looking at the best interest, you'll talk about the security of the child. How is this child? Is this child safe? So when you're talking about it in terms of separation, where does the child feel safety in? Who is the child more comfortable with when you're talking?
That's hard for a mother.
It is very
To
hard.
then give away my child because they're closer to the father, but
Yes,
it is
but
what
you
it
see,
is.
what is happening is the best interest of the child. One of the things, and I think this is one of the things parents need to embrace, because some things will not change. If you decide to go your ways, you've decided. Can we put our emotions separate and co-parent our children together?
On that point of co-parenting together, co-parenting peacefully, what tips can you give a parent who's watching, who's probably going through a separation or divorce? How do you do it peacefully despite everything you feel this person has done to you or not?
Oh, first and foremost, remove your emotions from there.
That's hard.
Don't tell your children your father or your mother did this. That's you and your hubby, or you and your wife. Your child is your child. Fight your battles together, you and your hubby. Leave the children away. Remember, the children, if they had a choice, they would not make a choice. Secondly, even before we talk about co-parenting, did we involve them in this transition?
Do we need to?
Yes, we do. I mean, imagine, Christine, if I just picked you with your bag and I told you, let's go.
But you
to
know
a
that
new
people
house.
will do that. I'm asking
Yes.
because I know that people are thinking, why do I need to tell this guy he's not doing anything
children
anyway?
struggle because they don't understand. I mean, and then they're not seeing their daddy or their mommy. So it is very important to ever have these conversations with the children and say, this is where we have reached. We've tried our best.
It's not
Daddy
working.
and me, it's not working.
But
We love you and we will do our best to have you together. So also in terms of co-parenting, when you've talked about that, then the children know that emotionally they're taken care of by daddy and mommy. They can go to mommy for a weekend, daddy for a weekend. How do we deal with the holidays? Security, as I told you, is very important. Also, security in terms of finances. Children will start wondering, will I drop out from the school I was going for? I like going for swimming, I'm in this club, what will mean? So being able to make sure that their development is not affected.
So you try to keep that intact as much as possible.
As much as possible. Then we talk about also the mental wellness.
Do you, I know at some point, maybe that you will see some things in your child and you feel, okay, here even as a parent, there's nothing I can do, I need to have them speak to a counselor like you.
Yeah.
How then do you make this decision? What would your child be doing for you to then decide to take them to a counselor?
So, first and foremost, it may not even be necessary to see a counselor, depending on the support structure that you have. Like you have siblings, you have grandparents, that already is a support system. And they can help them in their mental development and emotional development. So we're talking about when you start picking, in smaller children, they'll start regressing, they'll start bedwetting, then you know there's something wrong. In bigger children, they become aggressive, angry, they worry,
I'm sure they shut down, no communication.
Then performances,
In
academic
school.
performances, and then the things that naturally interested them, they pull away from friends. So at that point, you know that this child is suffering
Right.
with something. There could be a worry that would come in, and it could be leading to depression. So you need to capture it. So even away from talking to a counselor, can they get support from your siblings, from the grandparents, and then you can take them to a counselor.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yes.
It's a good point.
Mm.
Do you think there has to be? I'm answering myself. So let me voice the question.
Yeah.
The question is it possible? And maybe that's the narrative we also need to change, that you can have a child who comes from a divorced family, from a separated family, but they're still happy and thriving.
Oh, I know many.
That's good.
I know many, and I know many who are actually co-parenting, and the children are happy as they can be. And it's interesting. Many times you think that it will break them. They become stronger. They find their personalities. They just find their space. So if you were just to look at the best interests of the children, psychological wellness, emotional wellness, their stability, happiness. What is happiness to this child? If that was put first, and not look at our selfish interest because you've hurt me and I need to hit back.
Yeah.
This child is going to grow better than you ever imagined.
That's wonderful.
Yes,
That's
and
wonderful.
they will enjoy relationships from both sides. Yes, but the interesting thing is this, even after people have co-parented and everybody is staying in their homes, it's very important that you put rules and structures that are similar.
In different homes.
Yeah, because there's some games probably in my house I don't want them to be played, but when they come to your house, they're okay. Or some certain toys that you feel like you can pamper them this way and this way. If it's bedtime, what is that? Certain activities. So what happens? Children start becoming conflicted. I know children are children. They'll pick favorites depending on...
even play one against the other.
Yeah. So you need also, as you're co-parenting, can we put our rules and our structures and our rituals to be very similar?
How do you get two parents who've separated to communicate effectively to the point that they can decide that these are the ground rules in both homes? Remember saying the other home there's another madam or this
Yeah.
side there's another sir,
Yeah.
and they also want things to be a certain way. How then do you reach that middle point and you know you guys are not together anymore?
I think it just starts with one person and just being consistent. Most of the time, even the other person may not be wanting, especially if they've moved on and they've married, just to insist. Can your child see you? Can you have a lunch meal with your daughter or your son to create that relationship? And most of the time, it may be a bit difficult when it's starting, but with time, the other person also sees value in it.
Having that consistency.
Yes, but I will not tell you it's easy. It is something that has to be done intentionally.
Awesome.
If you look at it as the future of your children and you want them to be better people, then you will do it. It's an investment that you need to do.
Thank you, Njoki.
Yes.
As we're winding up, what are the final pointers you can share with our parents on how to then mitigate separation and divorce, the effects on a child? How can we equip our children better, or how can we do better so that we have thriving and happy children despite circumstances?
So one of the things actually, and I think would be the best, is ask your child who they would want to talk to. You could be taking them to a counselor, but they don't want to talk to them. So they will say, actually, I want to talk to Auntie Christine.
Or sometimes you could be quick to bring a child to a counselor, right?
Yes, yes, and they may not want. So they'll come, and these are the children who will come and they just look at you for 30 minutes and they will not say anything because probably even they are not ready to talk about it. It's hurting inside. They don't want to talk about it. So just talking to them and saying, who would you want to talk to? Among my friends, among your relatives, and they'll tell you, I'll talk to Auntie Christine. So already there you know your child is taken care of.
Okay.
Also, teach your children to journal. Very important. Can they pour out their feelings somewhere? Today I'm angry, I feel insecure, let them write their feelings there. For smaller children, they can
draw.
They can draw. It's called expressive therapy. They can color and draw their feelings by the day, and you can pick emotions. The darker colors, the color, it just shows
that's how their heart
child
is feeling.
there. But then you see a transformation. They start coloring pink and yellow. Then you know they're dealing with their feelings.
As a parent, can I read my older child's journal.
No. Why would you do that?
But how will I know
That-
their feeling?
That is invasion of privacy.
I was
Imagine,
just asking.
imagine if somebody read yours.
Hey, in fact, that's the other thing, because I'm thinking of burning mine.
Yeah, I mean, you'd
Somebody
feel.
might turn them into a movie.
Yeah, but also I've had parents who the children will say, "Can I read? I have a journal,
shouldn't,
and
right?
I will allow you to read it."
Huh?
Yeah, the children will say, "I'll allow you to
So
read
I can
it."
then ask for permission.
Yes, you can ask.
Okay.
Is it okay if I read your journal? Is there something in your journal you'd like to share with me?
Okay.
They might not want you to take it, but they can share something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have to come to an end, but what I love in what we have pointed out is that we can have thriving children who come from separated or divorced families.
Yeah.
It's just how we safeguard. What's important is to safeguard.
Relationships and our future, the future of these children.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for our people who are tuning in, Stawi is where they come
Tawi
to.
Wellness.
Stawi Wellness is where they come to. If they want to speak to somebody, if you're a family member, you want to see a counselor. Njoki is here. She also has a wonderful partner called Sylvia.
Yes.
And you guys make an amazing team.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
your
much.
wisdom.
Yeah. Thank you for having me
No,
here.
thank you. Thank you. We are here at Pridina Zoo. Please make sure you come over if you're looking to have a family lunch. We are currently looking at a beautiful pool. We almost want to jump into it, but I am still in the baby pool. Pridina Zoo is where you come for your staycation, for your family functions. Make sure you check it out. I am Christine of Super Mamas. I hope you found these tips shared by Njoki to be insightful. And like we said, just because you're separated or divorced doesn't mean your children need to be heavily affected. Let's see how we can safeguard their wellness and their happiness. Join us in the next video.